Ladies and gentlemen.
He's looking at every camera.
We are here, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. Slam Connection is starting the first episode of our podcast, Behind the Mic. Thank you all for tuning in. Listen. We've been talking about this for quite some time. Like it's been four score. Listen, we're here. We're here to talk to you guys about what's going on in the community, slam, poetry, all the good stuff, but why it matters on a deeper level. So, quick introductions for those who don't know. My name is LaCroix Nixon, aka Atlas. I've been writing and performing this is year 9 for me. Slam, this is year 2. Jeez. Year 2. And yeah, I get to be the founder and director of this amazing organization. So yeah, glad to be here.
I'm Bria, rhymes with banana, and I am the director of community engagement for Slam Connection, and I'm also a poet. I have been writing for a little over a year, and this is year 1, just coming up on my anniversary of year 1 of Slam.
That's actually crazy.
You've been writing for a little over a year.
Never written. Wait, hold on. We're from zero to podcast.
Yeah, no, my first poem was for a Slam Connection open mic in April of last year.
My name is Daniel. I am the director of artist development for Slam Connection, and I do camera stuff as well, whatever title that is. I've been writing since I learned how to write. I've been doing poems for about 2 years now. Slamming. Yeah,
casual.
Very casual.
I was about to say, we have a collective, like 15 plus years of just slam knowledge or poetry knowledge, writing knowledge, whatever you want to call it. I put out a book. You put out a book.
I have a book.
You got a book on the way.
That's coming.
We don't talk about it, but no, we talk about it, but we don't talk about it. We keep it on the hush. But either way, as you know, we are all a part of Slam Connection. We do different events throughout the community. So we're talking open mics, workshops, and volunteer events. Biggest thing that happened just this past Friday, we had our August edition of the open mic. Specifically, this open mic, we took in donations for school supplies. It was really dope, really awesome. And on top of that, Column 15, as we know, they made a stage for us.
Dope.
Yeah, they did.
They listen. Let me rewind the clock back. This is the first episode of the podcast, so we gotta bring in context. We started doing open mics at Column 15 Coffee. What was it? Last April?
Yeah, it was the first one.
Last April, and all of a sudden, we just came in and just started doing it consistently. We've never really had a empty night. Everybody's always come through. It's been an amazing turnout, amazing event, and people are really impacted and changed by it. So we just kept doing it and just kept showing up. And then we did like a mock slam season last year. That went really well. Had a grand slam at the Williamsburg Regional Library. This year we come back. We start off in February. And then they're like, okay, we got to shut down because we're renovating the space. All right, cool. We go on a 3-month hiatus. Most small businesses, organizations, they would not be able to survive that. Not us. So apparently we
not
come.
Like us.
They not. Hey. We build different. We come back, and we start doing open mics again in June, and we've never not had a packed house. Mm-hmm. It's been insane. We've always had full open mic list. Everybody's coming through and everybody's enjoying themselves, which simply hits different. So yeah, can y'all were there. Can y'all talk about like what happened? Yeah.
I was there. It's family, man. It's the way family works with Slam Connection. Slam Connection is rooted in family, and everybody who shows up wants to come back. And then when we take a 3-month hiatus like that, it's like a family reunion. People are like, oh, we can't wait for them to come back because there's no pressure.
Yeah, there were so many people who were returning faces, but there were also a lot of new folks who had come out just for, they'd heard about it and were super excited to check it out and had been waiting. They'd been waiting for us to come back. And honestly, I feel like the first month that we were back, I saw a larger crowd than I had seen at some of the open mics before we had taken our hiatus. So we came back stronger.
Which was crazy to think about with poetry. poetry, right?
In little old Williamsburg,
In
Virginia.
little old Williamsburg, Virginia. But I think the crazy thing is most people don't realize how much actually happens in the city of Williamsburg outside of just us and what we're doing. But people in the city are hungry. There's been a really heavy hunger for platforms, for artists of all mediums to just express what they have. And there just hasn't been that in the city till we come along. So, yeah, man. If you haven't already, come to our open mics. They're always the first Friday of each month at Column 15 Coffee. Sign up start at 5:30, and the event gets started at 6:30. Even if you're not an artist, even if you have no plans on getting on stage, it's a great place for community and connection. So every first Friday, and then also we have a little thing called a slam season that's starting up. Wait, Coach, can you talk to us about Slam season? Coach,
I am the coach. I'm also the coach for Slam Connection. That's true. So the Slam season has started. Well, will be starting in September. Our goal is to get a team together so that we can compete at the Southern Fried Poetry Slam in Lafayette, Louisiana. Trying to get some crab balls going, you feel me? You know what I'm saying?
I don't eat seafood, but we
Yeah, I was gonna say me either.
Sorry for your loss, both of you guys. But yeah, so we're going to have, slam competitions, which is basically where we compete with our poems. And the audience, the city of Williamsburg, essentially would be the ones who are judging, would be the ones creating that team.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. So our first slam competition, it's an unofficial one, but our first slam competition is August 30th. We will be having a cosplay slam. All right. Can you talk to us about what is that?
Yeah, it's the cosplay slam. It's a fun slam that we are doing where you come dressed as a character of your choice and you can present poems as that character or about that character. It is 2 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. Scoring will be accumulative, so bring your work and yeah.
Come through dressed as Naruto.
Yes,
talk about the shadow clone jutsu.
I will be there as the Akatsuki, so don't come through dressed as Naruto.
But listen, like I said, it's a game. We love to have fun with it. But our official slam season will be getting started in September. So September 6th will be our open mic. September 13th will be our first slam qualifier. Again, column 15, the qualifier will start at 6 p.m. Don't miss out. And we'll keep going from there. Speaking of which, we're not the only people in the state of Virginia that do slam poetry that represent this state on the national level. So there are at least 3 other teams in Virginia right now. We have Spellbound Poetry Slam, you have Writer's Den, and you have Verb Benders. All right. Spellbound is representing Charlottesville, Virginia. Currently their venue is in Richmond, Virginia. Writer's Den is also centered in Richmond, Virginia, and Verb Benders is centered in Norfolk. Shout out 757. You know what time it is. So just to let you know, they have a few events coming up soon. This Wednesday, Verb Benders will be hosting their first slam qualifier at the venue on 35th Street. It starts at 7 p.m.
So the doors open at 6:30. Slam starts promptly at 7:30. They like to start at 7:30.
Listen, if you plan on getting in there, don't be late.
Thanks.
All right. Also, today is August 4th. Writer's Den is starting their season as well. I forget their venue.
Adis
Ethiopian.
They start a little later, correct?
I think so, like 8 o'clock-ish.
Yeah.
Somewhere around
Doors open at 7. It fills up fast.
It does. Listen, especially with Writer's Den, their doors fill up fast. So you're better off just getting down 64 and getting there on time. And then last but not least, you said there was the 15th.
The 15th.
15th, Spellbound will be hosting their first slam qualifier as well. Did we ever get a confirmation on their
I believe it's 7:30 is the time it starts.
7:30?
Yeah.
Poetry happens at night.
Yeah,
Poetry happens at night. Just keep that in mind.
And they have a feature from Ephraim Nehemiah.
Listen, if you've never heard of Ephraim Nehemiah, you need to do your Googles right now. But main thing is that a lot of poetry slam teams, they get started, their season starts around August, September. So you want to stay in touch, keep your ear to the ground if you want to go to one, if you want to compete in one, all of that stuff. Now, let me slow down again, right? We've been talking a lot about all this slam stuff, all this competition stuff, but I think, I don't know if all of you listening actually know what that is. So real quick, let's break down what is slam. What is slam? It takes on many different like definitions. As one would say, like what is slam? How would you guys like define slam?
Well, a good friend of mine said that slam is like playing chess with God. You're gonna lose, but you get to play chess with God.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But no, slam is competitive poetry, right? And it is not necessarily. Charm City in Baltimore describes it very, very well when they do their intros. We are not judging poets, and we're not necessarily judging poems. We're judging storytelling, right? It is your ability to portray your message and your ability to make people feel something, right? It doesn't matter what that feeling is or what the topicality is. How can you make people feel something?
Come on.
Right? Langston Hughes almost won a poetry slam with the poem about dad jokes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the topicality can range from a lot of different things. So it's not necessarily about any specific thing. It's just a matter of how can you creatively make this presentation.
Yeah.
I think it's something you really have to experience. Like we can explain it and describe it as many times over as we can, but until you're in the room at a poetry slam and seeing it play out, you're not going to grasp it the same way. You have to be there.
Come on now, come on. It's real because there's nothing like when you get that one poem that gets on the stage and it doesn't score well, and the whole crowd goes, "Wow!
You need to leave.
You need to get out."
Who that judge?
Who that judge?
So poetry slam is a competition. So here's how the competition is broken down. So let's say we'll go with a traditional setup. You have 12 poets in a room, right? You have 5 judges. You have 3 rounds as well. So 12 poets, 5 judges, 3 rounds. A lot of numbers. Quick maths. All right, stick with me. So what happens is all 12 poets go. Okay, so slam, right? So let's say we got 12 poets, 5 judges, and 3 rounds, right? So all 12 poets will perform in the first round, right? And what happens is after each poet gets off the stage, you have all your judges give a score from 1 to 10, right? 1 being absolutely trash, and 10 being Langston Hughes, who, Maya Angelou, what? Like a most amazing thing you've ever heard. You can use decimal places, so you can score 9.3 and 8.7 and so on. The low score, if it's a full panel of 5 judges, the low score is cut off and the high score is cut off, and the middle 3 are added together to give your total score. So if you get 3 10s, if you get 4 10s out of 5, you earn a 30, which is the highest score a poet can earn in a poetry slam. Now, another thing, you get 3 minutes with a 10-second grace period. Depending on where you're slamming at, some slams will be lenient and they'll start taking points off. Other slams, you're disqualified. You're done. So keep that in mind. Yeah, that's basically the setup. And then as you go on in the competition, there's typically an elimination or a cutoff. So if we have 12 poets in the first round, we cut 4 and we go to 8 in the second round. Then we cut another 4, then we go to our final 4 in the final round. And that's typically how it goes. In between each round, it can be cumulative. So meaning that all your scores are added up to give your final score. Or like Food for Thought Poetry Slam happening on October 5th in Richmond, Virginia at the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. Don't miss out. Sometimes you have a competition like that where every round is clean slate. So as long as you make enough to make the cut, it doesn't matter what you scored in the last round. You got to do it again. Or if you scored the highest in the last round, that no longer matters. You got to do it again. It can cause for some very interesting, what's the word? You ever played Mario Party and like how an innocent game can get mad intense? It's like that. That's the best way I can describe it. So definitely like slam is very complex, not just as an art form, but also as a competition. Different competitions run different types of ways, and it can range from how many rounds there are, to how many poets there are. Like Southern Fried, it's multiple days, and you have to score well on each day to advance, and it's a team competition. So that's a whole nother.
Very complex.
It's very complex.
No,
so
I didn't understand it until it was there.
Comparing Slam to Mario Party, you might have did something.
Listen, tell me
it's not like
Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute.
No,
tell me
you're
it's
right.
not like
That's
that.
pretty accurate.
Cause like Mario Party gets crazy and Slam
You don't
gets
know who's
crazy.
going first.
You don't.
You never know what you're gonna. Yeah, this is.
What game you're going to stumble into?
And that. Oh, speaking of which.
Who's going to be on your team?
Okay, so Mario Party. So Slam at the beginning of each competition, you have what you call bout draw, right? What happens is you have a sacrificial poet or calibration poet. That poet is performing as if they're in the competition, but they're not. They're judged as if they are, but their scores are not tallied against everyone else's. And then after that, you draw out of a hat, draw straws, flip a coin, whatever, to see which poets go first. The order matters. We'll get into that a little later, but that can decide the entire landscape of a slam and all of that. It can get real hectic out there, right? Mario Party. I'm so serious. But yeah, those are like some of the basics about slam. Quick question. I want to ask like everybody else, how did we get here? How did we get into slam? Like, it's so niche. You don't really everybody's not slamming everywhere. So yeah.
I fell in. No, for real. I came out to Slam Connection open mic to spit some spoken word, and you came up to me and you were like, "Hey, we've got this thing going on." Well, I had no idea what slam was, y'all. They were just like, "You should try this slam thing out," and I was like, "Okay, cool." So I went out to a verb bender slam just to watch one first, because genuinely I had never seen anything to do with slam before. Came out to watch one. These two were like, "So you're slamming, right?" And I was like, "No," and they were like, "So you're slamming, right?" And so I slammed and qualified for benders, which I later made. But yeah, so it was genuinely, I heard about it through just, word of mouth and the poetry community. Slam Connection connected me to slam. And here we are, a year later. Yeah.
Here we are, a year later. My guy.
Yeah.
Your slam journey has been very interesting.
Yeah, so I instant transmission did.
Actually, though,
I smelled it and just went there. But now, so I got into slam from high school, right? So high school, there was this thing called speech and spoken word. There was a club, right? Only reason I know of the club is because it was the same club, like, teacher as chess club was. Only reason I know of chess club is because I had to go somewhere before basketball practice. I went in there, got smoked by a little kid. That's a story for another time. Dang. Right?
hey.
But then I kept coming back. You know what I'm saying? I had to go back. But no, so chess club ends, speech and spoken word starts. It's my sophomore year. And I was like, I like writing. I'll do this. Right? I was too nervous to actually write poems, so I wrote speeches instead. But I was able to actually go to the events. So I went to the events and saw slam poetry. And was like, wow, this looks really dope. I really want to do this. And I didn't, because I was too into sports. But I still kept writing. So I stopped thinking about doing slam, went to college, went to the military, was doing all these different things. And then one day on deployment, we had an open mic. Went to the open mic, did a poem, and was like, I actually like this. And I had this other guy on there who was doing poems. He was like, yeah, you should do it when you get back. And I was like, all right, cool. So then I came back and was like, all right, I'm going to be a slam poet. So during the entire deployment, I'm watching like Stephen Willis on my phone. I'm watching Black Chakra. I'm watching Breeze. I'm watching Neil Hilborn. I'm watching all these different slam poets. Ali Schminky. I'm watching all these different poets on there, and I'm like, all right, when I get back, I want to do this thing. And then I literally went back. I was in a boxing gym, and one of the coaches there, his sister is best friends with Steph Love. Right? So y'all know Nisha Himes, right?
Yeah.
So Nisha Himes goes to the same boxing gym as me. This is literally a week from me coming off of deployment. So she's like, yeah, I know this open mic you can go to. It's tomorrow. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll go. I show up, and it's a poetry slam. It is not an open mic.
That's crazy.
At this open mic, there's this guy named Atlas there. right? This is the first time me and Atlas met.
This is true.
So Atlas is there, Jenna May is there, Kaz is there, Maddie G, Bryce, Brave Nate.
Brave Nate was there.
This was a nasty Samay. This is a nasty slam for my first slam, right? But yeah, so that was me. I was like, oh, I really want to do this. I manifested, and then I jumped into the deepest of deep waters.
And then 12-foot section.
Literally, it somehow came up to the surface, and I didn't look back.
That'll do it. I was about to say, you was just in Charm City not too long ago.
I was in Charm City.
You did that thing. You know
that
what I'm saying?
Mr. Viral.
I did.
Yo, I had to say, you got like how many thousand?
Like 80,000.
You casual 80,000 views. But listen, the main point we're making is that this slam stuff, even though it's a game, it really does connect people. Nice. You know, the amount of people I've met, like-minded people that care about their community, people that care about art, whatever, and just people in general, just through open mics and slams is actually ridiculous. I would have never met these two if it wasn't for poetry, slam, or any of that. Slam Connection would not be here if it wasn't for poetry, slam, or any of the stuff we just talked about. Oh wait, hold on, I got to tell my story. So
I was gonna say we're missing something here.
Okay, so sheesh. Okay, so up until 2020, I had been writing. Yeah, 2020, I'd been writing and performing for, what was it, 5 years at that point? 5-6 years. I did something in high school, and I was shy. You cannot tell me that I would be speaking in front of people when I'm not at work. You know what I'm saying? Like, you cannot tell me that. But so my English teacher, shout out Miss Williams, she's like, hey, shout out Miss Williams. I'm so serious. She was like, hey, you should write more. We did a poetry unit in class. I was too shy to say it in front of the class. She's like, no, I'll read it. Everybody's oohing and ahhing and going crazy. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. She's like, yeah, you should do this more. She got me into this competition with the NAACP, the AXO competition. It was the first time I go, it's like spans nationally. It's this whole thing. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm so gassed. I'm going to nationals. I get waxed. I got smoked. I was like, oh, nah, y'all do this for real. Like, there were people there that had already been doing this for 6-7 years. They've been writing since. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, oh, okay, y'all, this is for real. That was the first time I saw what it could really be. Because before, all I knew about poetry was whatever I learned in class. But this is where I first learned about, like, for real, like Nikki Giovanni, the legendary Black Ice. Those people that were really taking this poetry thing and really making it culturally relevant to today. I had never seen that before. I was like, oh, okay, so y'all run real fast out here. All right, cool. So I started writing, and I was still getting waxed. I went a second year, got waxed, and I'm like, all right, maybe this ain't it. My plan was to go to college, become an engineer, build roller coasters. That was my plan. God said nah. But so fast forward, I go to college. For those who can't see, there's a roller coaster kind of built in the corner over here. So,
yeah, it's
so technically it did happen. So, but what was I saying? Fast forward, I go to college, right? I joined this ministry called Bridging the Gap Urban Ministries, talking about the gospel through the performing arts. Somebody somewhere found out I did poetry in high school, threw me on the stage, said we need 2 pieces. I only had 1. So I freestyled the other half of the piece and flubbed it. It's bad. The video's still on YouTube somewhere. All right. It was terrible. But apparently the crowd didn't think it was terrible. They were like, oh, this is great. I met a man by the name of Nick George. He runs an organization, or ran an organization out in Lynchburg called The Listening Incorporated. They were having open mics, doing a lot of things out in that city, still doing a lot of things out in that city. And he was like, hey, we got an open mic. You should come be a part. I was like, all right. And the name Atlas kind of stuck. And that was kind of what happened. Fast forward again, I kind of told this story like in the middle point, went all the way back to did a prequel sequel kind of thing, but bear with me. Fast forward to 2022. I believe it was 2022. I wander into the venue on 35th Street. I was looking for open mics. I wanted to do poetry again. I kind of took a hiatus because COVID. I just wanted to be a part. I come in there. I did the shoe piece. And they were like, well, too bad we already got our team together. You would have been coming with us. I'm like, coming with y'all to where? That's when I found out about Southern Fried and Slam and all that stuff, because I'd seen it. I'd never really known how to get into it. So that was my beginning. So then the rest is kind of history. There it is. So
it's crazy because, like, you was talking about connecting people, like, to poetry and everything. There is not a single poet that I have met that is not either A, working with kids,
facts,
B, working in their community,
facts,
or working with or running their own nonprofit.
That's a bar.
Poets are the connectors to the communities. And that's one of the things that I've just learned from just being in Slam for the past 2 years. Because every time I meet somebody, they're either like, oh, I'm teaching these kids. I'm doing these workshops at these schools. I'm a teacher myself, or I'm working in my communities, or I'm one of these. Like, they're the modern day activists doing the groundwork. It's like poetry is always the second best thing that a poet does.
Ooh, come on. Yeah. No, because factual, because my next question was going to be like, why is any of this Slam stuff necessary? Because like you said, it's a game. Why do we care? But like you just said, like, there's a lot of poets out here really doing the work, really like leading the charge in every front. Like, not just education, but community activism. We're talking about with the next generation, not just trying to make more poets, but make better people. Like, there's a lot of people, like, who is it? Like, Metamorphosis. She's a whole actress, right?
She's a whole everything.
She's a whole everything, right? Like, Stephen Willis, he's got his degree in what, theater?
He got like a he's told me he has a doctorate in spoken word. Because he has a master's in theater and a master's in English. So
that's
basically...
Put them together, that's it, yeah.
There you go. So basically a PhD in the culture. Yeah. Basically. Right. But like, everybody's doing big things. And not just like, that's inside the sphere of spoken word and outside of it. I think it's somebody like Breeze who runs the dojo. Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, Breeze, or Breeze the Poet, is an amazing poet. Slamming for Spellbound Poetry Slam right now.
We are live.
Properly. All right, we're good?
We are live.
All right.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, Breeze the Poet. For those who don't know, Breeze the Poet is an amazing poet. He's been pretty much anything Slam related, he's probably won it, including our Grand Slam last year. Like, dude's resume is stacked. One thing he does is he runs this thing called the dojo. He teaches a lot of poets that want to get into Slam, or already established Slam poets, how to become better writers, performers, all of the things. So I brought him up because this past Southern Fried, which was the second week of June, he gets up on final stage, right? Only 4 individual poets make it on the final stage. He gets up on stage, and everybody is screaming, "Dojo stuff, dojo stuff." They didn't say stuff, but they didn't say stuff.
It's a family-friendly podcast.
This is low key, because for the kids watching, we're not saying stuff. But like, I think that right there was such a hard-hitting moment, because when half the room is there because of your efforts, I think that speaks volumes more than any competition someone could win. Because at the end of the day, like you said, a lot of us poets are really the main ones doing the work. A lot of us poets are the main ones mentoring. A lot of us are the main ones really active in our communities, not just speaking about it, but being about it. A lot of us are leaders in our communities. So when it comes down to this Slam zeitgeist that we have, it's so much bigger than just the poetry on the stage and the competition. It's the impact that you have afterwards. I can't tell you how many times I gotten off stage at a Slam I might not have won or even done well at, but somebody stops me and says, "Bro, you said that thing and that was insane." Food for thought last year, prime example. Short Kings, I did one poem and it scored really low, But the amount of people that were like, bro, my friend is short.
Not even I'm short. My friend is short.
It's like, bro, I got a short uncle, and like I thought of him.
Uncle.
Like, but like for
uncle.
them, or like, bro, I'm short, and I feel that. Thank you for saying that. That's why that hits deeper than anything.
Right, and that's the same thing we talk about when people talk about feeling like they need new poems all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I need a new poem. I can't go back to the open mics. I have a new poem. I can't go back to the slams. I have a new poem. And it's like, when you do the poem the first time, it's for you. Then every time after that, it's for that person in the back.
Yeah.
You know, it's for that new person to the scene that might just need to hear that. Because poetry is as much church as it is therapy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's one of those things where it's like, do your work that meant something to you, because it will mean something to somebody else. And that's way better than coming in second, third, fourth place. I'm not gonna say first place. Second, third, fourth place. It's like, is that person that comes to you after the poem and be like, that poem meant something to me.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that poem.
Yeah.
Because you'll never forget that person.
It's so easy to disconnect, I think, from your own work when you do it over and over and over, and then you start to forget the impact it has on other people. And that's really the biggest thing about slam for me, is not just the greater community around it, but the amount of people, like you said, who come up after and say that your words meant something, because you know that they're going to take that and they're going to leave the building with it. It doesn't stop at the mic. They're going to take that into their personal lives. They're going to share whatever it meant to them with the people around them, and that's going to have that ripple effect.
Yeah. I still think, even off the stage, I think about the detention center. Slam Connection early this year, we did a 6-week program from March to April with the Merrimack Juvenile Detention Center, and all we did was every Monday around noon, we go in there and we teach about an hour-long class. Hour and 10-minute class about how to write, how to perform, how to do this spoken word slam poetry thing. Simple, right? Man, when I tell you, we had those kids standing up on chairs. And these are kids that, again, they're incarcerated, right? They're already been marked as the bad kids. They've already been marked as, especially like when we first walked in.
My
when we first walked in.
Was it 13B or something like that?
Or something like that.
Unit 3.
Unit 3.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Unit
bro.
3.
When we first walked in and we're being introduced to all the teachers, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. You guys doing a poetry class? All right, that's cool. What unit you with? Unit 3? Ooh. Everybody was, that's a rough group. Good luck. Like, just kind of looking at us like fresh meat to the fire. Like, but they came in, they were respectful. They were actually hungry. You know, you could tell they wanted to hear what we had to say, especially when they realized like we really do this and we really actually care. And these are kids that they don't always get a chance to express themselves. They don't always get a chance to really write their thoughts and be open and honest. They may not always be in environments where they can do that. But the fact that they came into our workshop, right? They dove in and started writing and wrote fire, right? Writing incredible things. That hits deeper and hits harder than any slam I could ever win. We had one kid that told us, he was like, hey, like, when I get out of here, I'm going to find you. Like, when I get out of here, I'm going to find you guys, and I'm going to come to the open mic or whatever. And from low to high,
we got a 10.
You know what I'm saying? Like
we have the reason we're here.
We have the reason we're here.
The reason why we do any of this stuff. So, I think that's the biggest thing of, like, when you think of slam poets, all this stuff, it's so much bigger than just the poetry. If you're in it for just the poetry, you're going to miss out on so much. Last thing, like when you go to Southern Fried, WOWPS, Women of the World Poetry Slam, bigger poetry events like that, the biggest thing you can take away from it is really the community that you build, the friends that you make, the moments that you have. Those hit so much more than really just winning the slam. That's just one piece of an entire puzzle. The amount of connections I made nationwide with just poets that do the same thing I do, and are willing to help out with what I do, and I'm helping them out with what they do. moments like that where you realize, oh, crazy, I'm a part of the Spider-Verse. It's a whole thing. There's a lot of other Spider-Men out here making stuff happen. So yeah. So we're saying all this stuff. Now, I want to ask you guys. So you want to get into a poetry slam, right? To the person on the other side of this this podcast, right? What would you tell somebody that wants to get into poetry slam? Never done it before.
What would I tell someone who wants to get into a poetry slam and have never done it before?
Sure.
But they want to do a poetry slam.
Right.
Do it.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Right.
First and foremost, do it. I would tell them slam only has its ebbs and flows when you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like, there are people that go to slams everywhere all the time and almost rarely come in first or second place. There are people that slam all the time that rarely make it out of the second round. People that travel for it.
Yeah.
Right? And it is so much more important to enjoy the connections like we were talking about, enjoy the messages that people are giving, but also to be able to get your message on as many platforms as you can. Because slam is one of those large platforms that gets everybody together. We're going to get the comedians, the singers, the visual artists, we're going to get the poets, we're going to get the rappers, we're going to get everybody in one room, and we all grow from it, you know. So I would tell that person, hey, look, jump into it, try it. Whoever wins, go up to him and talk to him.
Facts.
Whoever loses, go up to him and talk to him.
Come on.
Right? Every person that you meet at that slam, have a conversation with them. Just ask them anything, because most slam knowledge is free game.
Facts.
It's free game. Like, anybody who's gatekeeping slam knowledge, that's insane.
You're lame.
That's insane.
You're gatekeeping your lane.
Yeah, gatekeeping slam knowledge is insane.
It's poetry.
It's poetry. And it also, because the thing is, once you understand that winning and losing is so subjective,
Facts.
and there's almost nothing you can do about it, except for continue to write and continue to get better. Because it doesn't matter if you know other people's work. I know Stephen Willis's entire catalog. I probably know exactly what poems he's going to do. Don't mean I can beat him. I have no idea what Black Chakra is going to throw up in the slam against me.
That's real.
Don't mean I can beat him. Right? It really just all depends on the day and how you feel and what you consider a win. The win is getting up on stage. The win is getting your message out there. And the win is the inspiration that you're going to get from being at the slam. So go into it with an open mind.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'd say very similar. Just do it, because when you get out there and you experience it, you're going to take something away regardless of if you win or where you place. You're going to get that experience from it, and you're going to have those interactions with people before and after. I mean, most of what I've learned from Poetry Slam has been in front of the venue on 35th at midnight while the building's closed, but everyone's chatting outside, or outside of column 15 after an open mic or a slam. Absorbing that knowledge and learning from it. It's very hard to feel like a loser at a slam regardless of where you place, because the community that surrounds poetry, at least in this area, and I'm sure that can be said, nationwide, just where poetry is in our hearts, it's so hard to be humbled at a poetry slam in the negative way, because everyone is so supportive, and regardless of where you place, they are going to lift you up so that you do continue to grow as a poet and as an individual. So do it.
Come on now. Listen, jump in the water. The water's fine. Listen, the sharks don't bite, I promise. No, but like, slam is, if I could tell anybody something the first time, you're better at this than you think you are.
That's a fact.
Like, real talk. The amount of times I've seen people get up on stage like, I don't know, get up there and absolutely kill it. You're probably better at this than you think you are. Slam poets in general, we are our own biggest critics. We will nitpick our own stuff so much to the point where we'll pick it apart, right? Get out there and say it, because your poetry is most likely not just for you, right? If you're writing only for yourself, then you're going to get to the end of yourself one day. But if you're writing for other people, if you consider other people in your writing, or that person that needs to hear the message, then you will never run out of source material. I promise you that. Because at the end of the day, you can write about your traumas all you want, but eventually you heal, right? And then what do you do when you don't have traumas to write about? You know, but who knows? Somebody else in the crowd might need to hear that because maybe they're going through it, right? You're better at this than you think you are. I promise you that. And so what? You might get waxed. Cool. It happens. Listen, there are some of the best poets in the world that get waxed. All right, somebody got to lose, somebody got to win. That's the competition side of it. But like these two said, like, if you're coming in there solely for the competition, you're going to miss the entire point of why we do this. Think of slam like a game of spades at the cookout, right? You want to win that game, you know, but we don't live for you winning the game. We live for that moment when somebody slapped the table and it go crazy and everybody goes crazy. And it's like, oh my God, he slapped the table. Cut. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't even think that was the right terminology. We'll see.
You get through this. It's cut, but it's okay.
Listen, don't take my black card away, but I don't play spades. Listen, I don't play Uno either.
That's a poem.
Listen, that's a poem. That's another thing we do. Every time we hear something that could low-key be turned into a metaphor, we say, that's a poem. Or there's a poem in there somewhere.
There's a poem there.
But listen, you're probably better at this than you think you are. And listen, just jump in. Just try it. If you're thinking about trying it, I challenge you to try it. One thing I can say is slam does push your pen.
That's a fact.
Right.
That's a fact.
Because it gives you a reason, something to write for outside of just, I'm just writing just to write. It's like, oh no, I'm writing to get into this competition. I'm writing to get into this grand slam. I'm writing to do this. I want to be here. Because think about poetry, especially I tell a lot of my friends outside of like poetry in general. A lot of people look at poetry the same way they look at like modern day hip hop. The problem is with poets, we don't get signed to record labels. You know, we don't get featured in the same places that a rap artist would. So there's not always a lot of measurables when it comes to what we think success is. So slam, for a lot of people, it gives them that like, okay, if I can get to this slam, or hey, if I can be a part of this, if I can be the sack poet for here, that's cool. But on the other side of it is that community, right? It doesn't matter how many slams you get to. Any elite level slam poet, like that's world ranked, nationally ranked, anybody that's ever done that, they will tell you that none of that really matters. They'll be the first ones to tell you, might I add. So listen, if you want to get in the slam, just jump in and have some confidence. You're better at this than you think you are.
True.
Don't be surprised if you turn around and win.
Don't look at me like that.
Nah, but facts. So yeah, listen, this has been a great episode of Behind the Mic podcast. If I could, you know,
wait, time flies when you're having fun.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, I have a question before.
Question.
All right, so this is our little spicy topic. So I got on Facebook and did that thing I did. Right, well, I'll start something up.
Behind the Mic after hours. Let's go, Daniel.
Literally. So I said, I'm gonna read this post, and I'm gonna read. I want y'all to see if y'all didn't see what Ed Mabry said.
For those who don't know, a lot of slam poetry stuff happens on Facebook.
On Facebook,
there's something so millennial about it.
Because we're low-key old.
Facts. Wait, let me make sure the camera's on. Just make sure.
Oh, we gotta get this on.
Oh yeah, it's on. Yeah, I need this. 'Cause this is some good stuff here.
Okay.
So I made a post and I said, if I throw my hat in the slam and don't reference it, is it a prop? What are your guys' opinions before I continue?
Okay, for those who watching at home, for those who don't know, there's a prop role in slam.
Yes.
Essentially, if you are on stage, and let's say I'm on stage with the microphone, there's a mic stand, whatever, I can say something, this mic stand, something. Technically, that's not a prop because everybody has access to it. But if I use something that not everybody has access to, like my shirt, my pockets, my pants, my hat, if I use that and reference that, it's a prop. Technically, based on the wording, right? Would you say if you don't reference it, technically,
is it a prop?
Somebody might protest it, but I don't know if it would go through as a prop.
Would it in any way impact the performance of the poem? Would it add or detract?
There's no way you throw your hat and it doesn't do an impact. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I didn't reference it, right? So, but this was I just threw it up there just to see what people said. Of course, I have like 30,000, right? But we will quote the expert, the amazing Wendy, Wendy Jones.
For those who don't know, Wendy Jones, she is the Slam Master coach for Bull City.
No, she's the Slam Master. That's it. Period.
Listen,
she's the
Slam Master.
Literally.
She's the Slam Master.
Bull City, Durham, North Carolina, Bull City Slam. Right. Amazing team. Mm-hmm. What you got?
So he says, no, it's a costume change, which is fair.
That is fair. That's
very accurate, right? Yes. Now, Stephen Willis says, see, is the rule costume change or is the rule having costumes? And what's a reference? Because if I wear a suit and glasses and do Malcolm X persona poems for 3 rounds, how y'all gonna prove I don't need the glasses and I'm not just fresh for final stage? Fair.
That is a great question.
Stephen Willis made a post and says, Daniel Garber's got me asking this. I was always told that the rule and Slam with no costumes. Now I'm hearing it's no costume changes. Those are 2 very different rules and I'm gonna need clarity on about to eat. Fair. Stephen Willis will eat if he can come in a costume.
No.
Facts.
Now, before I'm not gonna read all this, I'm gonna read the expert again, Ed Mabry.
For those who don't know, Ed Mabry is the Michael Jordan of Slam at this point.
Period.
Basically.
He just recently dunked from the free throw line on me. So yeah, everybody gets waxed, y'all. Now, he says, all of y'all are somewhat correct. Yes, whatever you're wearing is your look and therefore your costume. If you change anything about it during a bout on or off stage, that's a costume change. Generally, once an event begins, what you have on is what you have on. Here's where it gets fun or funny. If, insert name, Angelo, gets hot and all the people in the Slam say he can change, then that's cool, though I would also alert the bout manager. If Chev has on a long sleeve shirt and rolls up the sleeves between rotations or during a poem, that's a violation. If Stephen Willis has on a Rolex and it falls off during the poem, that's fine. Even if he was discussing how time flies, because we can't prove it was on purpose. But if he picks up the watch and puts it back on during the poem, costume/prop violation. Read your poem on paper and the page falls to the ground, cool. Read your poem on paper and every page falls to the ground, or you fling them dramatically, say it with me, prop. Then he says, when Breeze takes off his shoes stage side inside of folks, costume change. If people can see the shoes over to the side while he performs, prop violation. Unless he gets permission from all the people slamming, which he does. And no, I'm not hating, just sharing before anyone tries to stir the pot. More power to that brother and his poems. That one is why if I do a dance piece, my shoes stay off for all rotations. So if you take something off, leave it off. This is where it gets fun, all right? He says, now, closer to what my homie is saying. If I show up in a black suit and tie, sign up as Malcolm X or any of his other names, I can do pieces about any part of his life, and it is not a costume or prop because I showed up as that person, not myself. This is called the Batman rule. After I was challenged and accepted to one day do an entire slam as Batman in the outfit. Catch is, Steven could not answer to his own name the entire night of the event, nor interact as Steven, only as Malcolm.
What?
And you're thinking, Ed, this is bull. We know that it's Steven, but you don't. If I say that I am Tony Stark and sign up as such and never break character the entire night, I can keep the Iron Man Halloween costume on for the entire slam and do poems accordingly because I am Iron Man for all intents of that slam.
Wait.
I have always wanted a team to be the Jackson family for an entire bout. Poems would be crazy. Y'all have a good night.
And that's
so speaking of our cosplay slam,
that's straight from the desk of Ed Mabry. So
the Batman rule.
So what we need like this? We need like an NFL like hand booklet, like
no, for real.
Slam, because that's
they just keep making new ones up.
Look, this is what I love about slam. Love and hate about slam is that the rules are so fluid. No one really knows the rules.
The Batman rule.
The Batman rule is crazy. I'd be like, show me that in the book. Show me.
But then who writes the book? Because what's going to happen is one poet's going to write the book, and they're like, that guy doesn't know anything. I'm going to write my own book. And now there's 12 different books. And now we have Southern Fried.
Now we have...
True. That's so true.
Now we have the Bible.
Yeah.
The Bible's crazy.
15 different translations.
Literally. Oh, wow. That's facts.
That is so true.
Slam is religious.
Slam is religious.
It's really what it is.
Nah, but for those who don't know, he referenced a couple poets in there. Chev, for example. Chev is the current U.S. rep. The current U.S. representative for Slam. All right, dudes like that.
No pun intended.
No, but actually, so he showed up as a dog. He has a poem called Dogs. If he shows up as a dog and only answers to a pet name, technically,
Or only answers to dog.
Or only answers to dog. Technically, and if he comes in with like a dog collar and stuff like that,
no prop. He's a dog.
Technically, it's not. Hey, it's a dog. It's a Doberman.
I'd be a little concerned,
it's
but
like
yeah.
doing the poem as a teacher. If you're actually a teacher and you have like a teacher thing on.
No, that's so true. That's so fair.
This is fair.
So what I'm hearing is I could roll up to an entire slam as a Barbie doll, go as Barbie instead of Brianna, and I could.
You would just have to not break character.
You can't break
Oh, have you met me?
You just have to not break character. But okay. But as you can see, slam is very
interesting. Fluid. Very fluid.
Because like slamming out here in the East Coast, in the Southeast, is different than slamming in the North. It's different than slamming in the Midwest. Different than slamming in the West. It matters on where you slamming, who you slamming against, and what time of year. what the stakes are of the competition.
And who's in the slam.
In the slam. Like, it matters.
Because there's specific
what the weather
people,
is outside.
There's like, if you're slamming with like, let's just say me, who's another really laid back poet like me? Nobody, just me, right? If you're slamming like with me or whatever, I'm not calling nothing. I don't really care, right? Hey, you still gotta win. I don't care if whatever you do. If you're slamming with Breeze, he's calling it. He's calling prop. He's calling costume change. He's calling time.
Wendy's probably.
If you're slamming against in a room with LJ, North Carolina,
LJ,
he's calling everything.
For those who don't know, these are different slam masters and people that run different slam teams, and there's a lot of slam teams. Listen, we're going to introduce you guys to the Spider-Verse slowly but surely.
True, it is the Spider-Verse.
It really is.
Talk, but we all here like Titans East.
The East Titans.
But facts, but yes, if there's certain people you slam against them, you better not.
You better not. Period.
You better
just try it.
They gonna protest, and they gonna have facts.
And they're gonna win.
And they're going to win because they know what they're talking about. They've been doing this longer than you've been alive. All right. Good luck. You better not show up as Batman. but that's real. But we say all this to say, listen. Come out to an open mic. Come out to a slam. If not a Slam Connection open mic, there's open mics and slams happening across the state of Virginia, all up and down I-64. Don't miss out. There's really like community and stuff that happens here. Like moments like this. Like we literally be sitting here and laughing about dumb stuff that happens in and around slam. It's hilarious. But like, come be a part.
Room full of hands all sitting.
That's for a later episode. Keep up in that. That was a legendary moment.
We have to have a whole episode that surrounds that. That's the episode title. Room full of hands. Don't sit on them.
Listen, come be a part of the slam. Listen, come be a part. Don't sit on your hands. Come outside.
Oh my goodness.
Nah, but
Get off your hands, y'all.
but real talk. Like, come be a part. Like, because this poetry thing is bigger than just slam, bigger than spoken word, bigger than just written forms. It's really something that connects people. That's why we at Slam Connection focus so much on like the community and use this so hard. That's why we made the curriculum so we can teach people how to do this, because the amount of people we've met that want to do this stuff but don't know how, and there's no real accessible avenues that like within their reach to get there. Now there are poets that are helping, like hosting workshops online and in person all the time, but if you don't know that they're there, you don't know that they're there, you know. So that's one of the reasons why we do what we do. So if we can tell y'all anything, come out to a slam. And if you think about trying it, jump in. I dare you. I triple dog dare you.
Oh, now you gotta.
Trip 3 dogs.
You don't have a choice now.
I triple dog. If you thinking about doing it. You ain't about it. You want it. No, but for real. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Y'all got any closing thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
How about our host close us out with a poem?
Listen.
I hate it.
Close us out with a poem. I think it's crazy how we're sitting in my house talking about the house we built. Right? I think it's crazy how there are lights on us, but we are the light in our community and we shine when nobody sees us. I think it's crazy how you don't need a camera to capture a moment. Sometimes all you need is a metaphor there's a poem in there somewhere. I think it's crazy how I'm holding this microphone and I'm talking to people that I may never actually meet, but 10 plus years ago, I was afraid to talk to people that I may never actually meet. I think it's crazy how we're recording this, and I've been looking at my GameCube the whole time, right? Looking at how so many times somebody was wise enough to put the system together and sell it to me as a whole thing, and all we're doing here is putting the thing together and giving it to you for free, the whole thing, no DLC required. You don't gotta even need internet, you just gotta listen, plug in, be a part, come play the game with us. It's fun, I promise you. Mario Party is fun. It's not about winning, it's about playing the game. Because you know what? We're all just really playing a game here. Slam, like we said, playing chess with God. You're gonna lose, maybe, but you played with God. And really, what's a better experience than that? Poem.
I shouldn't have asked. Thanks, y'all, for joining the Behind the Mic podcast.
Follow Slam Connection on Instagram. Follow Slam Connection on YouTube.
That part.
Follow Slam Connection on Facebook.
On TikTok.
On TikTok as well.
Yes, sir.
TikTok.
Follow us everywhere, just not to our car.
Yeah, don't do that.
Period, please.
Don't do that. I don't got enough space. Nah, but listen, we love y'all. Please stay tuned. We have so many more events and opportunities coming up. If you want to volunteer with us, we're looking for volunteers for our slam. So we're talking judges, bout managers, timekeepers, all of the like. So if you want to volunteer, if you want to be a part, also if you volunteer in a slam, you get in free.
Ooh.
You get in free. All right. It's $10. It's $10 a person to get into a slam, whether you're competing or spectating. But if you get in, you come in as a judge, it's on the house.
You can't afford not to volunteer.
You can't afford not to. All right. No, but seriously, whether you're competing or just coming and being a part of the community or volunteering, we highly recommend you come and dive in. If not with us, with somebody around the state. There's a lot of great things.
About 30 seconds.
Virginia's a strong slam state. I'm gonna wrap it up. I promise. He's saying I got 30 seconds. We're gonna use every last microsecond.
Love the half out here.
But yes, love you guys, and we'll catch y'all later.